keep that same energy. Do what got you to the dance.
Keep that same energy.
Hello. I keep the same energy. These are words Israel Adesanya has spoken many times throughout his career, addressing how people change their behavior around him, but also how he maintains a consistent aura or vibe, regardless of where you catch him. On one hand, this signifies his authenticity, that he doesn't change around people, but on another, to maintain your energy, your aura. In Hermetic philosophy, that can be seen as the art of the master. In philosophies like Stoicism, the emphasis is not to necessarily have no emotions, but to instead minimize their impact on your decision making, to be calmer so that it is harder to be swayed by those emotions. Thus, even in a storm, they may proceed with their next best decision. But to recognize how you are feeling and then to turn negative emotions into a positive so that you may stay consistent to your endeavors, that is a very rare and very difficult feat in and of itself. Yet, it is a capacity demonstrated by all those who have achieved something great. It sounds cliche to an extent, but to show up even when you don't want to, when Mike Tyson says discipline is doing what you love to do, even when you hate to do it, like you love it. It may sound like simple advice, but to actually consistently achieve that is so very rare, a rare feat. This is true, especially to today's time where learned helplessness is reinforced to a large extent, to make you feel like you have no agency over how you feel, praising victimhood, even if it means staying in the same place, because that's often the end result of it. To actually change how you feel, to feel empowered in your struggle, rekindling light. When does that even happen? When is that capacity promoted? Who teaches anyone to do that? Yet, immersed in darkness is where light shines its brightest, and not to feel subjected to its plight, but see it as an opportunity to grow, to rise above. Through those connotations, a simple match in an empty chasm is seen far further than in broad daylight. The power to shift the negative to positive, to stay consistent to one's frame, one's energy, that is an astounding feat. With Israel Adesanya, he constantly acknowledges the negativity, but for him, it seems to fuel him. He still wouldn't change what he was even if it elicits a negative response towards him, negativity towards him. That's exactly what it means to be a star. Just consider this. If you've noticed how with street lamps illuminating the dark, witnessing a star-bannered sky, it's very difficult with all the light pollution. All the light pollution gets in the way, washing out starlight. That is just it. The stars are only visible in the dark ocean of night, and as the sun sets, as the day gets darker, when night falls, that's when more stars appear to illuminate the night, and the longer you look up in pitch darkness, the more your eyes reveal stars. It's quite fascinating, really. Just more and more stars appear as your eyes get adjusted to that darkness where no light pollution is prevalent. In that sense, Israel Adesanya highlights something very important by just being himself, by remaining consistent to his frame in adversity, by always being himself, as hard as that may be for the rest of us. The response he receives conflicting with individual filters or perceptions, and the truth that negativity is always louder than positivity. It has his name heard and his message spread further and further. Know that if you were to say anything truthfully, even to 100 people, a group of those people would always be against you. They would conflict with that truth, and that small group will always be louder than the majority who are at peace or just even enjoying themselves with your message. If you do that with 1,000 people, then 10,000 people or even 100,000 people, a million people, you would not even know positivity stood on your side with how much proportionally louder darkness was. The only way you could smell the roses was if you stopped to smell them deliberately. In this way, you understand, to truly shine is to do so in darkness, for to do so amongst lamps would have the stars go unnoticed. Understanding this, to wave your light knowing it will breed conflict, yet to stay resilient against that conflict, that is what has always snowballed great aspirations to fruition. To change how you feel back to positivity, that is a common denominator amongst all remarkable accomplishment. But to stay mentally consistent, to keep your same energy even against constant conflict, when you've experienced this yourself, you realize it is one of the hardest things an individual can do. One person makes any negative remark about you, it's so easy to fall broken into insecurity. It's so easy from there to fall face first into a chasm of self-deprecating criticism. You can't just tell someone to feel better about themselves. They need to build that foundation within themselves in the first place, and it's often done so with a purpose far greater than their misery, far greater than their suffering, than their victimhood, to rise above it, say, for the people you love. That is a rarely cultivated character in and of itself. To that end, to keep the same energy, it may be easier said than done, but to be able to change your energy, your aura, your way of thinking back from the negative to positive, it is the sign of someone who controls their reality. Thank you, Israel Adesanya, for this lesson. If you like more from me, please subscribe and hit the notifications. Thank you if you did. It truly does mean a lot to me. Thank you. Smash that like button if you enjoyed. It's good karma, and until next time, peace.